Welcome again to Math 800 Pre-Algebra. Today we are doing 1.4 subtracting integers. Our objectives. First, we will find the opposite of a signed number. Second, we will subtract integers. And third, we will combine adding and subtracting of integers. Objective 1. Find the opposite of a signed number. Opposite integers are the same distance from 0 on the number line, but are on opposite sides of 0. Here are two examples. 3 and -3 are opposites. Notice that both 3 and -3 have the same absolute value, namely 3. Remember, absolute value is telling you the distance without regard to whether it's on the left or the right. So numbers that have the same absolute values are the same distance and therefore are opposites, provided one is on the left and one is on the right. So 3 and -3 are opposites. -15 and 15 are also opposites. Again, the absolute value of -15 equals the absolute value of 15. Notice that here I used equal signs because this is a true statement. This is 3 and that is also 3. This is 15 and that is also 15. But over here, I did not use any equal signs, and that's because 3 is not the same as -3, and -15 is not the same as 15. They have a relationship, namely that they are opposites, but they are not equal. Be very careful how you use the equal sign. It is only for when two things are the same, not just any relationship. When you add opposites, the sum is always 0. So if we add 3 plus -3, that's 0. If we add -15 plus 15, that is also 0. We will use this rule a lot when we start getting into algebra. So make sure you remember that when you add opposites, they're always going to add up to 0. Lastly, opposites are also called additive inverses. This word opposite and this phrase additive inverse are identical. They mean the same thing and can be used interchangeably. Objective 2, subtract integers. So, how do we subtract two integers? To subtract two integers, you add the first number to the opposite of the second number. So that can be very confusing. In order to subtract, you have to add. That's what makes negative so hard for some people. When you're doing this, you should do two things. First, make one mark to change the subtraction to an addition, and then make a second mark to change the sign of the second number. So if that second number was positive, you're going to change it to negative. If the second number is negative, you will change it to a positive. Here are two examples. We will subtract the integers 4 minus 10. The second number is the one we're going to change. So first we just copy down the 4. We change this subtraction to addition. Then we change that 10 to its opposite, which is -10. Notice they didn't write it, but this was a positive 10. This symbol right here was a subtraction. It is not a sign. This was doing a positive 4 minus a positive 10. So when we changed the positive to its opposite, that's where the negative came from. 4 plus -10 equals -6. And again, notice you are not changing the first number. The first number, nothing happens. It's the second number, 10 to -10. I should note that eventually I would like you guys to be able to just look at 4 minus 10 and know that it is -6 without going through these steps. If you are already at that point, that is great. If not, take the time to rewrite it as adding the opposite until you get the hang of it. But again, the end goal is that you can just look at 4 minus 10 and know that that is -6. One more example, -9 minus -6. Again, we're going to change this subtraction to an addition. Notice how we have the different colors. This black dash is the operation subtraction. These red dashes are signs, namely that these are negative numbers. It's the same symbol, but they mean different things. That can also be very confusing. Okay, so we change the subtraction to an addition. Then we have to change the -6 to its opposite, which is +6. Again, many people do not write this positive here because it is just assumed if you have a number without any sign to be positive, but in order for consistency, I would recommend this at first. -9 plus +6 is -3. And again, you're not changing the first number. That -9 stayed a -9. You're just changing the second number. Again, the end goal is that you can look at this problem and know immediately that it's -3 without having to do this work. However, if you are not ready for that, go ahead and do these two steps, change the subtraction to an addition, and change the sign of the second number to its opposite. Lastly, we are going to combine adding and subtracting of integers. We will simplify this by completing all the calculations. The first thing we're going to do is change all the subtractions, this subtract 10 and this subtract 12, to adding the opposite. So the -5 doesn't change. The subtracting of 10 turns into the adding of -10, so changing 10 to -10. The subtracting of 12 is going to change to adding -12, so change +12 to -12. And then the +1 just gets copied down. Now we're going to add from left to right. It is true that now that everything is addition, you could group these however you want, but when in doubt, when everything is addition or subtraction or multiplication or division, it's best to go from left to right. So we are going to first add -5 plus -10 and get -15. Notice I just copy everything else down. Then we're going to add -15 plus -12. Get -27. Again, I'm copying that +1 down. And finally, we're going to add -27 plus 1 and get -26. Note how neat and organized this looks. A lot of students struggle because they are not very neat or organized, and their arithmetic gets all screwed up because they're not keeping track of what number came where. When you're adding, you can be a little less careful, but as soon as we start mixing operations, order, it becomes very important. So it's best to get used to being neat right away. Okay, so that concludes section 1.4. What are your next steps? First, complete the worksheet for section 1.4, WS4. Again, that is found in D2L. After that, make sure you check the key for worksheet 4 in D2L. Again, you do not get credit unless you have checked the key as well. After you have done the worksheet and checked the key, make sure to complete the online homework for section 1.4, OH4, through My Math Lab, and then start on section 1.5. And again, if you have any questions at any point, please contact me.